big ass truck going past me. It's about to go now. Yeah, this one's gonna be rough. This one's not gonna be a nice taste to some people's mouths, and I think for some people it might be a thing of this is a long time coming. So um, yeah, but apart from that, thank you for the well wishes of getting back to my health. Um, it's been it's been alright. It's just my stomach. I was taking what's it called, Voltan. So I keep going. I even hear it on the flipping thing when I'm listening back. I'm like, Cal, stop doing. Yeah, I'll try to now stop doing. I'll commit to that. Kiss teeth. But anyway, yeah, I got lost my trail of thought there. But yeah, it's oh, my stomach. I was taking a pill called Voltaren, and that's meant to help um, to ease the pain. As you can, well, I'm not going to show you that. And it to me, what taking one pill is like, what am I doing taking one pill? That's a bit silly. So I started taking ibuprofen. It was starting to feel like it was erupting. Like you know when you feel that butterflies feeling, that's what was happening, just randomly. Or actually, sometimes I was having flashbacks of what happened, what will happen because it's part of trauma. I wouldn't entertain it though, and my stomach was just like as though it was splash, like an eruption, like an earthquake or volcano or molten, just splashing. Um, I did research. It said, yeah, don't do that mixture. It's not good. You get acid reflux. I had to take magnesium just to calm it down. But what I find that if I'm sitting down, I'm okay. It's when I'm actually standing up. When I'm standing up, that's when it's a problem. Or when I'm moving about. When I'm sitting down, it's actually fine. So I don't understand the logic of that. But there you go. Um, but yeah, um, I've just had a lot of reflection on what's happened for me with me since last week Thursday, and it's what the universe does. It gives meaning, reason, and purpose to why something may have occurred. And I'm that person. I'm an insightful person. I don't think that something just happens for an accident. There has to be a reason why something happened. You know, unless you were just being foolish, you're being an idiot. And that revelation should come to you right there and then. You're being stupid. You don't need any flipping foresight, no spiritual dimension or some divine appointment or intervention to tell you that you're being an idiot. Yeah. Um, so you know something's unexpectedly happening. Like, why the f did that happen? Like, what the heck's going on? You know. And I think with the accident, just prior to that, I knew that I was gonna open up to some things. I didn't know how I was gonna do it because I don't want to be seen as moaning or groaning or pointing fingers or blaming or, you know, because I'm sure you've seen what I've been putting out there, and I've just basically I've been seeing everything since 2024 and just my experiences, which I'm happy to share because everything I've been doing here has been relevant. So I came, you guys would have seen my videos. If not, go on YouTube, just type in Coach Kel's UK Gambia. Yeah, so yeah, Coach Kel's UK Gambia or Kel Exodus. So Kel Kel on Exodus without the E. It's Xodus. You'll find. I'm not trying to plug in here, by the way, but and that's just the thing. Actually, I wasn't doing it to monetize it. I was doing it to document it, because I wanted just to film anyway. Me just coming to Gambia, but I wasn't looking to do a series. It was when some things just went terribly wrong. I just thought, huh? I thought, no, no, no. I have to document it and then share this because sharing is caring, you know? So I did have people say to me, Kel, your stuff's quite boring and want to make it more exciting. I'm like, it's not meant to be exciting. I mean, there's a few parts that's exciting, like especially episode one. That's very funny, actually. Because if you're Caribbean, then you know how we do, you know how we party, yeah? You know how we let loose, especially at soca and carnival, that's our time of release. Let's just say it like it is. Yeah, okay? We're sexual beings, all right, okay? We know how to live the year because we have events that keeps us going, right? And we are the most um, busiest, I would say, to some extent. Yeah, I would say that actually throughout the whole year, apart from December, I think, and January, there's a carnival or some fete happening in every country that is relevant to the Caribbean experience, not only a carnival. And if anyone knows my work, you know that I have done assignments and a dissertation on not only a carnival and Windrush. So that's what I specialize in. And then now in Africa, I've done something. I've got a master's in politics of Africa. So anything to do with melanin, we can have that conversation. And anything after that, brown, Neanderthals. I'm joking. I'm gonna go there. Yeah, but anyway, I'm not. There are other special. There are people that we know are history, like history scholars and historians that are much schooled as well in that area and more present and known for what they do. But moving on from that, you can, yeah, go into UK, Gambia, type in Coach Kel. Sorry, it's sunny out here, that's why I've got these glasses on. Coach Kel's, it should come up, Kel Exodus. And it's got 8 episodes. And I talk about different things. I talk about from my land to tourism here, the container that I brought in, technology here, phones, um, work, I think, relationships, you name it. I do a whole documentary here because I wanted to get to know Gambia as well. I thought, let me just film it. And then, so that was an awakening, I'll say. It was a realization to what was happening in Gambia and some of the things that it's struggling with. And I'll bring up Marcus Garvey now because his mission was for us to come back to Africa, and Africa wasn't ready for us. But I don't think Marcus Garvey knew that part. Um, and I don't know if he knew anybody in Africa at the time that he could speak to, because at that time there was no Kwame Nkrumah, there was no Patrice Lumumba, there was no Rawlins, um, there was no Thomas Sankara. There's definitely no Ibrahim Traore and the Sahel movement. So I think he might have felt like he was on his own, trying to push a mission, and good for him. But he didn't know. So to his ignorance, in his beloved ignorance, his blissful ignorance, he was doing the right thing, but he didn't have proper research on that. He came to the UK to study, so he was a man that travels. Obviously, he was in Harlem, but he didn't go to Africa. I think the only thing I'd say about Marcus Garvey, where he slipped up, and I would say he did slip up here, is with the KKK when he went to go and see them, because unfortunately somebody like W.E.D. Boys, I didn't even know that he actually did that to Marcus Garvey. To be honest, that was a bit of a shock. There's still some things I'm actually learning about. I know he was banned, I believe, from going to Africa. He couldn't go to Kwame Nkrumah's independence, 1958 or 59. I'm sure it was him. So I thought he did well, not well the NAACP, but he wanted white involvement in that, which doesn't make any sense because Marcus Garvey is like Africa for Africans. Why are you including people that have suppressed us and have oppressed us for many years? That's why they weren't able to jail, and then they set up Marcus Garvey to fail very badly, very, very badly. I mean, if you want to just a recap on it, just go on YouTube and just type in Marcus Garvey, and you'll see documentaries last for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. You get a nice recap and then do your own personal study if you wish to afterwards. And it's terrible. It's terrible what happened to Marcus Garvey. And it's I would say people I've looked up to, going to seminars, different conferences, who would talk about Marcus Garvey, and it's because of them I knew more about Marcus Garvey. It's only because of my recent study on the carnival and Windrush and I now including Marcus Garvey in my projects. I got to know him more and of what he was doing. And what I would clearly say, which I did say in my last live, is that people talk about Marcus Garvey all day, but they're not continuing his legacy. You're just using it for brand and selling your goods and services. I regret to say, because you're not in Africa doing what you're doing. You're still in the UK or still in the US doing whatever. Gambia doesn't have that presence of what you're doing in the UK, which is just a history lesson and buying and selling of books and goods and stuff like that. That's what I'm seeing. You can observe that for yourself. Those who do what I'm saying, observe for yourself and see what you're doing, because I'm over here in Africa with a K doing it. Some of you have got more money than me. You've got houses, you've got more assets than me. But I'm over here and you're over there. I'm just saying it for what it is. Yeah, it's not personal. It's just an observation. And I say it's not personal because with some people, I actually have sold into your, I was about to say ministries. I've sold, SOWED. I've sold into your projects or into your seminars or conferences. I've given you money through charity or taken part in your activities or stayed in your rooms or whatsoever, you know, or been on a tour or whatever it is. I've done it, you know. So all it has been is just showcasing something, a museum or a talk or a tour to Africa or whatever. That's all it's been. There's no, like, come here, yeah, this is where it's gonna get ugly. As you guys know, I had the accident. Remember Denzel Washington? Actually, I'm gonna make a video on that actually, where one of his brothers, that's when Denzel really came to form, when his brothers was in the cells. They did, white people, the police just shot him for no reason, just for being black, of course. Yeah, and then Denzel Washington, Malcolm X came with his troopers, man. They came, they had representation for the man. Denzel came in and showed you what unity was and what it was to be soldiers on the floor, which is obviously inspired by Marcus Garvey. Yeah. Why do I say that? When I was over here and I've had certain situations, I had nobody come to represent me. Okay. And even if like there was no one for me to call or no one's gonna rush me, there's no diaspora hub here. There's no center, there's no headquarters. And these things are in my book anyway, if you do wish to, but I do go more into it. And that's obviously just to support what I'm doing, just to document what I'm doing and appreciate what I'm doing, you know. And I'm not getting the same money that some people are getting. Trust me, that is for sure. All right. But there is nothing here in Gambia that tells me that diasporas are here. Only when BC Signal turns up. And even that in itself is telling, because one minute no one's got money and the next minute some reggae artist turns up, and then all of a sudden people's got money to go and watch BC Signal, to go and see BC Signal. Yeah, and it's the same with Gambians as well. Some Gambian artists comes up, all of a sudden they have money. Back way, all of a sudden they have money to go and catch a boat and go their way to Europe. Yeah, and it's like, well, you don't really need to do that. I can maybe show you how you can save that $50,000 to $65,000. It's only $1,000 to start a business here, you know. So I'll come back to that in a moment. Yeah, so that's my observations. Being here is that I had no representation because I've not felt a presence of a representation in Gambia. If a support issue can make a call, and hopefully something will turn out, some help can come. My car ends up, I have to go through customs through Gambia, and you know, call a few people, and they might know somebody. Yeah, that's because they know somebody, right? Or if it's at the police station, it's the same thing, as I said to you before, no representation. My land, there's no representation. And it's the diasporas that got me in that problem anyway. Yeah, and that, I will say that was through Black Sit. I mean, that's no secret. Yeah, that was through Black Sit. and I won't go into that. You can go into YouTube and look. Coming here and want to set up a dream, and it's a wonderful dream. And kudos to those that did take that step. But something broke down there, and unfortunately, the supreme color is green. You know, it's not. I hate to say it, it's not this. We like to say it is melanin. We preach it and teach it all the time. Okay, there's studies on it. We know the talkers out there that talk about melanin and even talk about cholesterol and talk about the sun, and we've got the knowledge. You get it. I mean, you know it. They talk about it. Yeah, and it's just information, but there's nothing practical to see the Africa change. It's just, oh, this is going to make me money, and I can do what I need to do. There's no Buddhist concept, right? There is no um, Buddhist concept, no council or elders. Yes, we're in a world of democracy right now, okay? And even in democracy, you can still work, you can still thrive in a democracy world. Yeah, in a democracy content, I'll say that for now, because it seems as though I was listening to some African leaders. It looks like they're taking on the whole democracy thing, because the West is leading it with capitalism. Yeah, but hey, Russia and China, they're good examples. As I said before, they do their business through capitalism. But in terms of how they operate, is through communism. So they work at best for them. So they're integrating, not segregating, integrating through business, but segregating through, you know, nepotism. Hey, we're going to look after our own. Hey, no, I don't think there's an issue with that. You know, so um, I don't think I've even started actually. It's possible, but let me go with Gambia. So come to Gambia and hello, Mother Africa, how are you? I'm feeling fine, and I hope you're fine too. Hello, smiling Africa, how are you? I hope when you hear these words, Gambia, not your ways will turn blue, but your smile will turn yellow, orange, and red. Gambia. Um, I drove to Gambia. I saw different sections from Europe to Arab land to Gambia. I'd rather be in Gambia though than the other two previous countries that I passed. But even in Gambia, man, oh man, oh man. Even the people who you thought you could trust, that was a problem. And I have to say this, and I say this lovingly. Marcus Garvey, he was looking forward to coming home, but I don't think he saw that Africa wasn't ready. And I regret to say it, and I'm sure you'll actually agree with me, it still isn't. It still isn't ready. It still is not ready. There's a lot going on here, and it's not just Gambia's meant to be the most peaceful country, one of the most, maybe the most, I've been told, compared to others. I've been told by others, it's the most peaceful compared to others. Other countries, boy, they won't think twice to take your life, to take it out. Africa's not, it's not there, it's not gotten to that. But there are people coming into Gambia. That's just a problem. They're coming into Gambia and they are polluting or infiltrating or diluting where Gambia would usually be. And I've had somebody here said to me that they've been here for 20 years and the last 10 years is been the worst for them. And you can put two and two together why that would be. But there's an election this year and you can turn it around. You know, you can actually turn it around. Yeah, because it's people that put leaders in, I did it again. It's people that put leaders in position. So if you come together like ants, yeah, I will say that word, Yeah, because I'm a wildlife man, and I'm very much into wildlife, and and there's a key word in itself as well. But working together is is what Marcus Garvey, he personified. Is that the word? Sorry, I'm losing my vocab. He gave us, he showed us the way, yeah, in a big massive way, ships and printing and I forgot. There's other things that he did, to show that he was going to make a mark on us, and that was in America, in Harlem. Yeah, Africa. There are some things that need to be torn down, and it first needs to start with the borders, if anything, and then it needs people to make some solid decisions, and only people, massive people, can decide that. And I don't mean bloodshed either. It doesn't have to take bloodshed. It's just an agreement for the energy to be pushed out there for everyone to realize, you know what, no, it needs to go this way. Okay? There's something about coming, especially in a circle, Bontu, coming in a circle, the energy that is in there certainly gives an agreement for all to realize that it's going to work this way. Because in the circle, if you realize there's no way out, it stays in the circle. So it means that everybody needs to be in agreement to make it happen. And that's the way you're meant to be doing, I'll say this word, church. You're not meant to be doing church in pews and just looking at the leader, and whatever the leader says, you just do it. And that's, I'll use the word dictatorship there, gone wrong. Is dictatorship good, full stop? I think it's the wrong use of word. I know I'd love to sit down and speak to Joshua Mapango. I would like to prefer to use the word village elders and councillors. And that's how where the motherland did very well. Yeah, elements of dictatorship can come in your household with your children. You are dictating for a lot of the time what your children can or cannot do. After a certain point, though, you need to rest off a bit, give them a bit of room to think for themselves. You don't teach them what to think, you teach them how to think. So after a while, the dictatorship needs to go. I don't dictate to my children. My children are almost 22 and 21. They will tell you, my children, yeah, my young adults, Mr. Young Adults, yeah, they challenge me and they question me. It doesn't happen a lot though, because a lot of times I do come right. But there's been a few times where I haven't, and they brought it to my attention, and I've been very quick to make it right. And they appreciate me for that. But obviously, no one's perfect. Marcus Garvey wasn't perfect. Look what he did. He went to the KKK. Yeah, I'm not coming off subject. I think he could have used a bit more wisdom there, because unfortunately, he did. I don't think he saw the other end of it, which is if this goes wrong, this is going to go very wrong. So any decision you make has to be just right. That's where the game of chess comes in. It's just play chess, play connect four, play drafts. You think, should I be doing this move? Because if it goes wrong, it just goes very wrong. And that's what happened to Marcus Garvey. Yeah, and unfortunately with Marcus Garvey as well, it did seem as though he was pretty much a solo leader. I don't know how he pulled it off though. Yeah, but they have come and gone. Hitler, Margaret Thatcher, some have been solo leaders, and they've done well. But unfortunately, something made them collapse, and sometimes it's because of a wrong decision, and that's where elders come into it and councillors come into it. Traoré is not on his own. Yeah, everyone's looking at, oh, Traoré. Trust me, Traoré does not make decisions on his own. You can see that he's with a team of people, and he's got a trusted people that he speaks to. You can see it. You can see that it's not just him. He's a very solemnly calm, humble young man. He's not. No, that's Hitler. Yeah, or he's not that guy. Yeah, he just like Rawlins. He sees injustices and he just went on it. I have not really read up Rawlins through and through, so I can't speak too much on him. But he lasted for a long time. And Rawlins wasn't turfed out. He died when he was to die, without anybody's assistance. It was just his time. Right? But yeah, my children, my children my young adults, my young daughters, I don't teach them what to think. I teach them how to think, and they just get on with it. Gambia, we need to be in a position where you need to know for yourself what it wants and what it needs to make Africa smile again, to make Gambia smile again, to be more to the point. Yeah, if Gambia is smiling, the rest of Africa, if, as small as Gambia is, can be that spring, that burst of springs and water and refreshments to the rest of Africa. Just one country can do that. Kunta Kinte did it. Yeah, so the roots, right down in the root, made it happen. You know, so that's my plea for Gambia is you have a chance. That chance is this year. Yeah, I'm doing a survey. I'll be taking it out, putting it out there again. Please spread it and do the survey. And I know it's Ramadan coming up soon, so I haven't got really much time. It's come really quick, but I'll be doing a few things to get more people on it. And after Ramadan, hopefully I can do it again. I most probably will end that. From the looks of it, most probably end it in April because of Ramadan. So, Africa, yeah, we see these lovely tall buildings. Yeah, I mean, Eye Speed, yeah, great. He showed us Ethiopia, Nigeria, he shows all the buildings. You know, you can get Europeans coming down to make these buildings or to even teach us, or unfortunately the Chinese to come and build it, whatever. You know, Gambia, I think, was one of the last ones to actually push forward and like start making buildings. You know, skyscrapers like Ghana or Ethiopia or Botswana, anything like that. You know, and it's doing okay. You know, it's not complete dinosaur. Yeah, so you're just seeing the beauty of Africa. That, you know, Eye Speed was seeing this beauty of the buildings and landscapes, stuff like that. Back in my day in the 80s, if you can recall, guys, feed the world, let them know it's Christmas time. Yeah, we were just seeing flies going up kids' nose and the famine. Yeah, and they're saying that they're starving when it wasn't really like that. It wasn't like a thing where they were being like totally neglected. It's just that they were running away from some kind of rebel or military war. So they were like refugees, and then they were stuck in. You know, it was just unfortunate at the time there was a famine. That's what it is. And next week, you know, you're making it out as though the whole of Africa is starving. I tell you, man, you white people, bro. Yeah, and this whole I'm gonna come off subject for a moment. This whole distraction thing with Epstein or Epstein or whatever his name is. That is blatant. You know, it took me a moment to go, hold a minute. No, there's a distraction somewhere. There's a distraction somewhere. There's a distraction. And the distraction was when they made Obama and Michelle, apparently from Lion King, looking like apes. And there's no apes in Lion King. There's just that baboon at one point, and I think they're monkey, right? It's just a baboon, and they don't really see him, I think, up until the end. So when, you know, Trump took one for the team, basically. That's what happened. Trump just took one for the team. So don't worry, just put them looking like baboons, looking like apes, and then it will go to me. Because the highest person, you know, the highest talk of any character right now is Trump. Okay, so if you put it that he did this to Obama, one of the most credible presidents, a lot would disagree, but we all know Obama, right? Okay, young people know Obama. You put up that story, it will take off the shade of Epstein. You guys are something else, man. And the funny enough is that when I thought that, then it was Jasmine Crockett. And you know what? I don't particularly like that woman. I think she's a little bit too much for me. But on that day, I've changed my tune. I'm like, no, you know, I'm not gonna listen to you now, because she was the only person that came out forward and said it. She said it's just a distraction. They're covering up Epstein. They don't want to talk about that. That's what that's about. I said I was just thinking about that, and then you went and said it like 2 minutes later, and maybe less than that. The universe put that in me. distraction, and then Jasmine came and Crockett came and confirmed it for me. That was like yesterday or the day before. Well, I think they finished school. I'll come a bit closer so you can hear me. Um, yeah, I'm gonna understand all that soon. Yeah. So yeah, man, you white people are something else. But yeah, let me don't you trump. And by the way, some of you white people, not all. When I say you white people, I mean generally, yeah. Okay, it can't be all of you because slavery wouldn't have been abolished without your help. Not in your carnival wouldn't have happened without your help either. The NAACP wouldn't have happened either. Okay, I shouldn't give credit to that. You know, so it's not all, but I think you could have done more though to stop racism because it's still happening now. I think white people should just go on strike and say we are not working. Like all white people, we're not going to work. Imagine that happened. They'll listen then. We're not stepping out. I'm not going online to work. I'm not going offline to go to work. We're not working until you stop persecuting our black brothers, brown brothers. I'm just using colors, yeah. You know, our brothers, yeah. You know, we're not going to work until you deal with this because we've had enough. They would change their tune straight away. They'd give that let's say a week. And like when Rosa Parks was 2 years, isn't it? Give that a week, 2 weeks, and okay, fine. They'll put new laws in. Racism will just dissolve. It's just white privilege. Yeah, you know, white people love their privilege. That's why they ain't doing anything. Yeah, the 5%ers, 1% obviously are the ones that own and rule everything. That's the 1%ers. Yeah, they actually influence everything and dictate everything, or whatever you want to call it. My vocab's gone. It's very wealthy. And the other 95%, you're just privileged. Even if you ain't got no money, you're just privileged. That's all it is. Yeah, I can flip it the other way around, but I'm not gonna do that right now. I don't want to waste any time. Yeah. Let me stay back on subject. So Gambia, you have a chance. You have a chance. You can't blame the government. You cannot blame the government. You put them in there. You, Gambia, you put them in there. You put them in there. You can decide on who goes in next and start talking, reasoning, and saying what you want and ensure it happens. Yeah, by certain signatures or laws, whatever. Yeah, and because of the circle, it will happen. It will happen. There's a lot of symbols, but this one is the most powerful one. That one is the most powerful one. Yeah, yeah. It even look like the sun can fit in there if you put your hand like that, going towards the sunlight. I can see the sunlight now. I can cup it, and I can have the sun fitting in there. The Ubuntu. If everyone's agreeing, that's what you have. It's powerful, very very powerful. Okay, so Gambia, there's a chance. Okay, so Marcus Messiah Garvey, Africa wasn't ready, still isn't. I've driven through the borders. It's not ready. It wasn't ready. I hate to say it, Marcus. Yeah, right, but great, amazing template.